Narcissists use 7 specific psychological tactics to bend your reality, break your confidence, and rewrite your identity, all while making you believe the problem is you. This video exposes each one of those tactics with surgical clarity. They studied you before you even knew their name. Every word you shared became data. Every weakness you revealed became ammunition. And while you thought you were building connection, they were building control. You have felt it. That strange sensation when something feels off, but you cannot name it. When your reality starts bending in ways that make you question your own memory. When your confidence slowly drains and you do not know where it went. This is not an accident. This is architecture. 7 specific tactics designed to dismantle your sense of self while making you feel like you are the problem. But here is what changes today. You are about to see the blueprint. Not theory, not guesswork. The exact psychological mechanisms they use to enter your mind and reshape it from the inside. Once you see these patterns, you will recognize them in real time. And recognition is the first layer of protection. Tactic 1. The mirror phase. They become your reflection. Not by chance, by design. In the beginning, they match your energy with surgical precision. Your interests suddenly become their passions. Your dreams align perfectly with their vision. Your pain is met with understanding that feels almost supernatural. This is called mirroring. And it creates a psychological bond faster than any authentic connection ever could. Because when someone reflects you back to yourself, your brain interprets this as safety, as recognition, as coming home. But here is the truth beneath the surface. They are not connecting. They are collecting. Every detail you share becomes part of their performance. And once they have mapped your inner world, the mirror cracks, slowly enough that you blame yourself for noticing. Tactic 2. Intermittent reinforcement. Consistency is not their language. Chaos is. They give you moments of pure connection. Times when everything feels right again. When the person you first met seems to return, then they withdraw without warning, without explanation, without pattern. This is not mood swings. This is intermittent reinforcement. The same mechanism that makes gambling addictive. Your brain becomes wired to chase those high moments. You start believing that if you just find the right words, the right actions, the right version of yourself, you can bring back the good times permanently. But the inconsistency is the point. It keeps you focused on them. It keeps you trying. It keeps you from noticing that you are slowly losing yourself in the process. Tactic 3. Gaslighting. They rewrite reality in real time. A conversation you remember clearly never happened. Words they said are now words you misunderstood. Events you witnessed are now events you imagined. This is gaslighting. And it does not work through one big lie. It works through 1,000 small distortions. Each distortion is small enough to make you question yourself rather than them. Did I really remember that correctly? Maybe I am being too sensitive. Perhaps I am the one with the problem. Over time, these questions erode your trust in your own perception. And when you cannot trust your own mind, you become dependent on their version of reality. This is not confusion. This is colonization of your internal narrative. Tactic 4. Triangulation. They never argue with you directly. They bring others into the equation. Someone else thinks you are overreacting. Another person noticed you have changed. Everyone is worried about your behavior. Sometimes these people exist. Sometimes they are ghosts created to make you feel outnumbered. This is triangulation, and it serves multiple purposes. It makes you feel isolated in your perspective. It positions them as the reasonable one who has support. It forces you to defend yourself against invisible judges. You stop questioning their behavior and start questioning your own. Because if multiple people allegedly see the same thing, maybe you are the problem. But here is what they do not tell you. The people they reference often have no idea they are being used as props in this psychological theater. Tactic 5. Word salad. You try to have a clear conversation. You come prepared with points and boundaries. But somehow, 10 minutes later, you are discussing something completely different. Your original concern has vanished into a fog of deflections, accusations, and irrelevant details. This is word salad, a deliberate confusion technique. They rapid-fire thoughts that barely connect. They shift topics before you can land on solid ground. They introduce so many threads that your brain gets overwhelmed trying to track them all. The goal is not communication. The goal is exhaustion. When you are exhausted, you stop pushing. When you stop pushing, they maintain control. And you walk away feeling like you somehow lost an argument you never got to have. Tactic 6. Projection. Everything they accuse you of is everything they are doing. They call you manipulative while manipulating. They accuse you of lying while lying. They claim you are controlling while controlling every aspect of the dynamic. This is projection, and it is perhaps the most disorienting tactic of all. Because when someone accuses you of something with enough conviction, part of your brain starts scanning for evidence that they might be right. Am I being manipulative? Have I been lying to myself? Maybe I am the toxic one here. This self-doubt is the entire purpose. While you are turned inward examining your own behavior, you are not examining theirs. The accusation becomes a shield that protects them from accountability. Tactic 7. The Hoover. You'll finally find the strength to leave, or create distance, or establish boundaries, and then they return, not with force, with vulnerability. They suddenly see everything clearly now. They understand what they did wrong. They are getting help. They have changed. This is the Hoover, named after the vacuum cleaner because it is designed to suck you back in. They use your empathy, your hope, your memory of the good times. They become the person you always wanted them to be, but only long enough to regain access. Once you are back in range, the cycle restarts, because the vulnerability was not growth. It was strategy. The pattern beneath the tactics. These 7 tactics have something in common. They all target your perception, not your body, not your resources, your mind. Because if they can control how you see reality, they control everything else by extension. You stop trusting your own judgment. You stop trusting your own memory. You stop trusting your own worth. And in that space of self-doubt, they become your interpreter of reality. But now you have the pattern, and pattern recognition is power. You cannot unsee this now. These 7 tactics will start appearing everywhere. In conversations you thought were normal. In relationships you thought were safe. In dynamics you never questioned before. And that awareness might feel heavy at first, like you are seeing shadows you wish you could ignore. But here's what that weight actually is. It is your mind reclaiming territory. Every tactic you recognize is a tactic that loses power over you. Every pattern you name is a pattern that cannot operate in darkness anymore. They rely on your confusion, on your self-doubt, on your willingness to blame yourself before you blame them. But you are not confused anymore. You have the map now, and maps do not just show you where the traps are. They show you where the exits live. You do not need to confront. You do not need to explain. You do not need their validation of your reality. You just need to trust what you see and move accordingly. Because the strongest defense against psychological manipulation is not aggression. It is clarity, cold, calm, unshakable clarity. They can only bend your reality if you hand them the authority to do so, and you are taking that authority back right now. Not through force, through knowledge. This video is not the end of your education. It is the beginning. Because once you see how these 7 tactics work, you start noticing the smaller mechanisms, the micro adjustments, the subtle shifts, the things most people miss entirely. Subscribe to the channel and do not stop at this video. They are still using tricks you have not noticed. The next video will show you how they do it, and once you see it, you will never see people the same way again.